Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I found an article coming from an Arab source, Al Mayadin, talking about some success the Russian troops, not the Russian army, the Russian troops, had in Ukraine. And they took over Vuhledar, which blocks the Ukrainian arms supply. So that's a route that the Ukrainians use for arms supplies, I'm guessing, for Bakhmut, and not only. I looked over the map, and this town, little town, is located in the southwest of Bakhmut. And let's read the article and see what these guys are saying. So as I said, this article comes from Al Mayadin. It is from today, the 26th of January 2023. Russian troops enter Vuhledar, block Ukrainian arms supply path. Advisor to the acting head of the DPR states that their goal is to take Vuhledar in pincers. Pincers, just like they did in Soledar. And the advisor to the acting head of the Donetsk People's Republic, DPR, Igor Kimakovsky, confirmed on Thursday, today, the Russian troops, you don't hear Russian army, just pay attention, it's Russian troops, have entered and surrounded the city of Vuhledar in the Donetsk People's Republic. They entered and gained, I'm quoting, they entered and gained ground along the outskirts of Vuhledar, thereby blocking the enemy's forces. Our artillery is attacking the enemy, who is trying to counterattack, end quote. He said on the Solovyev Live radio show, adding that their objective is to take Vuhledar in pincers, just like they did in Soledar. And I'm quoting, this tactic is paying off, end quote, he added. Another advisor to the DPR acting head, Yan Gagin, relates to the Russia One state broadcaster that the highway connecting the village of Pokrovske to Vuhledar is now under Russian control. Although Russian troops were able to take over the city's outskirts, it proves complicated as it is surrounded by mines with underground infrastructure like Soledar and Mariupol. So if you're familiar with Soledar, has some salt mines, and according to the Russians, Soledar mines have a length, the catacombs have a length of about 100 miles. That's what they said. Supposedly they can fit tanks and ammunition and troops in all those catacombs. Now, if you're familiar with Mariupol, in Mariupol there was the Azovstal steel plant that was surrounded by the Russians, and again the Ukrainians spent about a month or so in those catacombs, and eventually they surrendered, or as they like to say it, they came out because they wanted to save lives, and they fulfilled the tasks. The mission was accomplished, which is surrender, I guess. So now they talk about Mariupol and Soledar, and they talk about that little town over there having the same catacombs or the underground infrastructure. So, but I'm continuing reading here. But the advisor simultaneously suggested that the takeover will impede Ukrainian encroachment and ammunition supply to the area, where they fire their strikes against the city of Donetsk. Kind of far. I looked over the map. The city of Donetsk is kind of far, but hey, you don't know where the defensive troops the Ukrainians have. And I'm quoting, the Vuhledar direction is the Donetsk sector of the front. The cities of Avdiivka and Marinka are located nearby. By taking Vuhledar, we can cut off the ammunition supply in this direction, as it is precisely from where Ukrainian troops strike at Donetsk. In addition, it will be possible to inflict both frontal and flanking attacks already from Vuhledar, end quote, Gagin added. I'm pretty sure the Ukrainians will say that this Vuhledar has no meaning and has no, no value. This follows a week after the Russian armed forces managed to take control over the village of Klishchivka, located near Bakhmut in the DPR. It also comes 2 weeks after the takeover of Soledar, which Kimakovsky referred to above, where it was a severe site of savage battle with the presence of Ukrainian forces alongside Bakhmut. Both key towns are located in the Kiev-controlled part of the DPR, which became part of the Russian Federation in September following popular referenda in the region alongside other neighboring regions. Russian President Vladimir Putin declared that the people living in the DPR, the Lugansk People's Republics, Kherson and Zaporozhia, and I'm quoting, have become Russian citizens forever. And I'm continuing to quote, I want people in Kiev and their real owners to listen to me. We call on Kiev to enter an immediate ceasefire to end the war they initiated back in 2014. End quote. Bakhmut has been an important transport hub for supplying the Ukrainian troops in the Donbass in light of the Ukrainian war. In light of the Ukrainian war. Okay, it works, I guess. So, that's it with Vuhledar. As I said, this guy's probably, I mean, I looked over the map, it's like a small little 3 houses village. But who knows it, if they have over there trenches and all kind of defensive positions. It could be a town. It's not necessarily that it is a town, the village, but it's the area where the Ukrainians had this corridor of transporting ammunition and supplies. That's the easiest way to cut off an army, by blocking its supply lines, and that's it. They're going to be dying slowly. And you have to surrender at the end, or I don't know, commit a seppuku or harakiri, however you want to call it, or pull a 30th of April 1945. So, on the other hand, I made a video today regarding the Azov regiment being deployed in Bakhmut. So the Azov regiment is now a battalion, is more than a battalion, is 3 battalions, and supposedly is deployed over there as a frontline battle group. And the goal is to never surrender Bakhmut and kill all of the Wagner mercenaries they can. This is per the Ukrainian media and their, military leaders. The thing is, in Bakhmut, I'm guessing when the Russians will, take over it, the Ukrainians again will say that was so unimportant. On the other hand, the Western countries, the United States of America, suggested to the Ukrainians, probably ordered them, not to focus on Bakhmut, but to take focus off Bakhmut and instead focus in the south towards Crimea, Odessa towards Crimea. Well, I don't know. According to the Ukrainians are focusing in Bakhmut instead of south. But probably they're waiting for the supplies from their masters. And after that, they're probably going to try a counteroffensive somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be south, because it's kind of stupid to say, well, I'm going to punch you there. Unless I'm that good that I can tell you, eventually I'm going to punch you there, I'm going to kick you there, and eventually pop, boom, and I hit you there. That means I'm so good that I know I can do it. And unfortunately, even if I tell you, you can't block that. We'll see. As a tactical move, it's stupid to say where you're going to hit. But probably the Russians already know, because, the communications are tapped both ways. Both sides. So anyway, seems like the Russians had another victory over there that the Ukrainians will not report. And I understand then. Of course, you don't report your enemy's successes, or if you report them like unimportant or small, you minimize them and so on. So, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.